The conference hall erupts in applause as I take my place at the podium. Age is not invisible. The campaign slogan glows behind me on an enormous screen. What a journey from the woman who once believed her only option was to shrink herself, to disappear. Thank you all for being here today. I begin, my voice steady despite the butterflies in my stomach. At 48, I'm not used to being the center of attention, quite the opposite. As I scan the audience, I spot my sister Melissa in the front row, her eyes brimming with tears and pride. Next to her sits Sarah, my closest colleague and friend, who pushed me when I needed it most. My phone vibrates in my pocket, and I know without looking that it's another message from Victoria or Mother. They've been calling and texting relentlessly since the New York Times feature came out yesterday. 6 weeks after Victoria's perfect wedding, and somehow I'm still disrupting her narrative. The irony doesn't escape me for decades. They worked so hard to make me invisible, and now my face is on billboards across Manhattan. How did Eleanor Thompson, reliable advertising executive and dutiful family member, end up here? It began, as these stories often do, with a cream-colored envelope and a family lunch that would change everything. Flashback the restaurant. The Alexander Porter account is officially ours, I announced, sliding into the booth at Le Bernardin. It was meant to be a celebration, landing the biggest beauty client of my career at 48, when most women in advertising are already being pushed aside for younger talent. Mother barely looked up from her menu. That's nice, dear. Now, about Victoria's wedding. The lunch was supposedly about Victoria's upcoming nuptials to Richard, the investment banker she'd been dating for 2 years. At 52, this was her first marriage, a fact Mother miraculously never mentioned in her society circles. Victoria had always been Mother's favorite, her career in cosmetics perfectly aligned with Mother's values from her days as a fashion editor. "We finalized the bridal party arrangements," Victoria said, stirring her martini. Her engagement ring caught the light, 4 carats at least. "Melissa will be my maid of honor, of course." I waited for my name, for my role. The silence stretched. "And me?" I finally asked, taking a sip of water to mask my unease. Victoria and Mother exchanged a look I'd seen 1,000 times since childhood. "We were thinking," Victoria said carefully, examining her manicure rather than meeting my eyes, "that you might be more comfortable handling the guest coordination during the ceremony and photos." The translation was clear. I wouldn't be in the photos. "The dresses are Vera Wang," Mother added, her voice dripping with false concern. "Size 2. It would be cruel to make you try to squeeze into one." The word squeeze hit like a physical blow. I'd heard variations of this my entire life, always cloaked in concern, always designed to remind me that my body was a problem to be managed. "So you want me to be the wedding coordinator's assistant instead of being in the actual photos with my own family?" My voice remained steady, years of practice hiding the hurt. "Don't be dramatic, Eleanor," Mother sighed. "We're being practical. The photos will be everywhere: social media, the wedding website, Richard's family's home in the Hamptons. Can't have the fat sister ruining the perfect family aesthetic," I said, the words escaping before I could stop them. "That's not what we Victoria started," but I cut her off. "Yes, it is. Just say it. You're embarrassed by how I look." The silence that followed was answer enough. Mother adjusted her pearl necklace, her nervous tell since we were children. "Sweetheart, if you just followed through with that nutritionist I recommended last year." I didn't hear the rest. In my purse sat an envelope containing a gift certificate for a luxury spa weekend for Victoria, $3,000 I'd saved from my bonus. All those extra hours at work, all to show them how much I cared, how desperately I still wanted their approval at 48 years old. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera app. "Smile, everyone. I want to remember this moment." "Eleanor, don't," Mother started. Click. The photo captured them perfectly. Victoria's annoyed eye roll, Mother's practiced mask of concern, Melissa's obvious discomfort, evidence of the moment my family officially decided I wasn't good enough to be seen with them. "What are you doing?" Victoria demanded. "Getting receipts," I said, tucking my phone away. Never know when they might come in handy. I looked down at the envelope in my hands, the one I'd planned to present proudly at the wedding. All those extra shifts at work, All that overtime saved up to show them how much I cared, how desperate I was for their approval. Without a word, I tore it open. The gift certificate fluttered to the table like confetti. "What is that?" Mother asked sharply. "Your wedding gift, Victoria. $3,000 at the Peninsula Spa. But you know what? I just thought of a much better investment." "You're being childish," Mother called after me as I headed for the door. "This behavior is exactly why." "Why what?" I spun around. "Why you're ashamed of me. Why you've spent my entire life trying to fix me. Here's a crazy thought. Maybe I'm not the one who needs fixing." The door closed behind me with satisfying force. In my car, I finally let the tears fall, not sad tears, but angry ones, the kind that burn and fuel something deeper. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "How'd it go with the family?" I took a deep breath and typed back. "Remember that crazy idea you had about me being in front of the camera instead of behind it? The one I said I'd never be brave enough to do?" Her response was immediate. "Girl, you know I've been waiting years to hear you say this. Come over. We're making your portfolio tonight." I started the car, my hands steady now. They wanted to make me invisible, but maybe it was time to be seen or really seen for the first time in my life. And I knew exactly how to make sure they wouldn't be able to look away. Flashback at childhood, Mother had been a rising star at Vogue in the 1970s, beautiful, ambitious, and keenly aware of how appearances dictated success. She'd married well, to a quiet academic who adored her and died too young, leaving her with 3 daughters to raise with her uncompromising standards. Victoria was the spitting image of Mother, tall, willowy, with the same sharp cheekbones and effortless elegance. She absorbed Mother's values like oxygen, thriving under her approval. Melissa, the youngest, was a peacemaker by nature, adapting to survive in the emotional crosscurrents of our household. Then there was me, taking after my father's side of the family, shorter and naturally curvier. Big-boned. My grandmother used to say kindly. Problematic, according to Mother. I was 8 years old when I first understood I was different. Easter shopping. Victoria and Melissa in the children's department, me shuttled to women's wear with Mother's whispered commentary following me through the racks. "If you just put down the cookies. We need to hide those arms. Nothing too bright, it draws attention." At 8, I learned my body was something to apologize for. By 16, I'd mastered the art of taking up less space wearing black, standing at the back of family photos, declining beach trips because those kinds of photos aren't flattering for someone of your size. I remember once, during summer vacation at the Hamptons when I was 17, Father found me crying in my room while everyone else was at the beach. "Why aren't you swimming with your sisters?" he'd ask, his kind eyes concerned behind wire-rimmed glasses. "You know why," I'd mumbled. He sat beside me on the bed, this gentle academic who seemed perpetually bewildered by the beautiful, cutting woman he'd married and the dynamics she'd created among his daughters. "Eleanor," he said softly, "someday you'll understand that the problem isn't your body. The problem is anyone who makes you feel ashamed of it." He died 3 months later, a sudden heart attack at his university office. With him went the only buffer between Mother's expectations and my reality. Victoria stepped easily into the role of Mother's lieutenant, and Melissa learned to keep her head down and follow orders. And I became the family project, the daughter who needed fixing, whose very existence seemed to threaten Mother's carefully constructed image of perfection. At Sarah's apartment, they did what? Sarah's voice echoed through her Brooklyn apartment as she poured us each another glass of Merlot. At 50, Sarah had the confidence I'd always envied, a divorced, single mother, and utterly unapologetic about any of it. I repeated the restaurant conversation, my voice hollow. "And you're surprised because?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "I'm not surprised. I'm just—" I searched for the right word. "Tired. I'm tired of trying to be good enough." Sarah studied me over her wine glass. "Tell me something, Ellie. What's your first memory of feeling bad about your body?" The question hit unexpectedly hard. I told her about the Easter dress shopping trip. "Jesus," Sarah muttered. "They were body shaming you at 8 years old?" "The worst part is, I believed I deserved it," I said quietly. "I believed I was doing them a favor by staying out of photos, wearing black to family events, standing in the back of group shots. Like I owed them an apology for existing. And now I'm a 48-year-old woman who just got professionally sidelined by her own family. Again, I laughed, but it came out bitter. And the sad thing is, I'm good at what I do. That Porter account? It's for their new anti-aging line for women over 40. I got it because I understand that market. I am that market. Sarah set down her glass. That's it. What's it? Your campaign. You're directing it, right? The age is not invisible concept you pitched me last month? I nodded. Marketing beauty products to women over 40 was my specialty, ironic, given my family's fixation on youthful beauty. But in my professional life, I'd carved out a niche understanding the women my mother feared becoming. You've spent your career helping other women see themselves, Sarah said. Maybe it's time you were seen too. You're insane, I told her as she opened her laptop and pulled up a list of photographers. This isn't going to work. Shut up and look at these, she said, turning the screen toward me. Marcus Sullivan, he's the best in the business for authentic portraiture. And guess what? He's shooting your Porter campaign already. We sprawled across her living room floor, surrounded by takeout containers and my phone that wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from my family. I ignored them all. Look at her, Sarah pointed to a stunning woman in her 50s featured in a recent skincare ad. She's making 6 figures a year just from modeling. And this one, she clicked to another image. She just landed a contract with Nordstrom at 57. That's different, I protested. They're confident, beautiful. I'm not. She closed the laptop and fixed me with that look, the one that meant she was about to serve some hard truth. You know what the worst part is? I grabbed another spring roll. I actually believed I was doing them a favor all these years. Like my existence was an inconvenience they were graciously tolerating. Well, that ends today. Sarah opened her laptop again. Because I just emailed Marcus Sullivan. The campaign needs a real face, someone who embodies the concept. Who better than the creative director? You what? I nearly choked. The photographer from the Porter account? Are you crazy? A little. But so is hiding yourself for 30 years to please people who will never be pleased. She grinned. He's already responded. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. No pressure, no contracts, just test shots to see if you like it. I'm terrified, I admitted. Good. That means you're finally doing something that matters. The mirror. The next morning, I stood in front of my mirror trying to channel confidence I didn't feel. My phone showed 17 missed calls, mostly from Mother and Victoria. A text from 6 years ago caught my eye, one I'd saved as a bitter reminder. Honey, maybe you should skip the beach trip with your friends. Those kinds of photos aren't flattering for someone of your size. Love, Mom. I'd stayed home that weekend. Deleted my Instagram. Bought more black clothes. Never again. In the reflection, I studied myself with new eyes. At 48, I wasn't what fashion magazines would call beautiful. The gray streaks in my brown hair that I'd stopped coloring last year. Laugh lines around my eyes. A body that had carried me through life, through success and heartbreak, that had birthed and raised a son who was now in college. James. My son. The one relationship that had never been conditional on my appearance. His father had left when James was 3, a junior executive who'd found someone more suitable for his climbing career. Mother had been almost gleeful. Men leave women who let themselves go, Eleanor. I've been telling you this for years. But James had been my salvation. Raising him alone had given me purpose, strength, and ironically, the career success Mother had never expected. I'd thrown myself into advertising, discovering a talent for understanding female consumers that made me valuable even in the youth-obsessed industry. Now James was at UCL, thriving in his sophomore year, wonderfully oblivious to the family dynamics back east. I protected him from Mother's toxic standards and Victoria's cutting remarks. He knew me as Mom's strong, capable, loving, not as the family disappointment. My phone buzzed with a text from him. Killed my econ final. How'd lunch with the Dragon ladies go? I smiled at his nickname for my family gatherings. Let's just say I'm making some changes, I texted back. Big ones. His response was immediate. About damn time, Mom. Send pics. Taking a deep breath, I put down the phone and began preparing for the photo shoot, choosing clothes that didn't hide or apologize that for once, simply expressed who I was. The studio, Marcus Sullivan's studio, was industrial chic, exposed brick, enormous windows, the Manhattan skyline visible in the distance. As the photographer for the Porter campaign, he'd been skeptical of my concept at first. Age is not invisible, I explained in our initial meeting. Women over 40 feel unseen in beauty marketing. We want to change that narrative. Now, 2 weeks later, we were in the middle of the shoot. The models, all women between 40 and 65, looked stunning under Marcus's skilled direction. We need one more, Marcus said during a break, reviewing the shots. Someone with, I don't know, more authenticity. These are great, but they still feel like models. They are models, I reminded him. I need someone who embodies the concept. Someone who knows what it means to be made invisible. His eyes met mine, and I instinctively took a step back. No, absolutely not. Why not? You're exactly the demographic. I'm the creative director, not the face. Marcus shrugged. Sometimes the best ideas come from crossing that line. I thought of Victoria and Mother, of all the times I'd been told to stay behind the scenes. I can't. Can? Or won't. That night, I stared at myself in my bathroom mirror. 48 years old. Not thin, but not as large as my family had made me feel. Gray streaks in my brown hair that I'd stopped coloring last year. Laugh lines around my eyes. A body that had carried me through life, through success and heartbreak, that had birthed and raised a son who was now in college. My phone lit up with a text from Victoria. Did you order your dress for the rehearsal dinner? Remember, we're all wearing pastels. Nothing too bright or attention-grabbing. Even now, the controlling instructions. Even now, the subtle message. Don't stand out. Don't embarrass us. The next morning, I called Marcus. I'll do it, but on one condition: I have complete control over how I'm presented. His response was immediate. Always. You're in control here. The photo shoot. Tell me something that makes you angry, Marcus said as I stood awkwardly before his camera, trying to remember how to position my body. 20 years behind the scenes in advertising had not prepared me for this. The question caught me off guard. What? Anger. Real emotion. Give me that. Before I could censor myself, words poured out. My sister's getting married in 2 weeks, and they don't want me in the photos because of how I look. Click. 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 How does that make you feel? Marcus asked, his voice gentle but probing. Furious. The word exploded from somewhere deep inside me. I've spent my whole life trying to be smaller, to take up less space, to apologize for existing. Click. Click. And now I'm done. I want to take up all the damn space I can. Yes. Marcus lowered his camera, grinning. That's it. That's the energy. Hold on to that. The rest of the shoot flowed like magic. Every snap of the camera felt like breaking another chain. Every pose was a middle finger to decades of subtle cruelty masked as concern. Afterward, Marcus showed me the shots on his computer. I barely recognized myself, not because of how I looked, but because of how I felt looking at them. There was no shame in my eyes, no apology. Just strength. Mind if I send these to Olivia Chen at Body True? She's been looking for a new campaign face, and these are exactly what she's after. Body True was the largest body-positive beauty brand in the country. Their campaigns were everywhere, including billboards throughout Manhattan. Billboards. An idea started forming, something that would ensure my family couldn't look away even if they tried. Send them wherever you want, I told him. I'm done being invisible. The campaign planning. Take off your robe whenever you're ready, Marcus called from behind his camera. Remember, you're in control here. I was standing in a professional studio wearing nothing but black silk lingerie and a matching robe and ensemble I would never have considered wearing before. It had been 2 weeks since my test shoot, and Body True had moved faster than anyone expected. Now I was here for my first official campaign shoot, trying not to hyperventilate. You've got this, Olivia Chen, Body True's CEO, said from her position near the monitors. She was exactly what you'd expect from a body positivity icon, confident, sharp, radiating authenticity. Just think about why you're doing this. Why was I doing this? I closed my eyes and pictured Mother's disapproving face, Victoria's dismissive glance, the countless family pictures where I was positioned in the back or worse, asked to take the photo instead of being in it. The robe hit the floor. Beautiful, Marcus said softly. Now tell me what you're thinking. I'm thinking about every time they made me feel ugly. The words came out stronger than I expected. Every time they told me to cover up, or stand in the back, or skip the beach trip. Click, click, click. I'm thinking about my sister's wedding. How they're so worried about their precious aesthetic that they'd rather pretend I don't exist. Show me that anger, Marcus encouraged. But make it powerful, not bitter. I shifted my pose, remembering the confidence exercises Olivia had taught me yesterday. Shoulders back, head high, own the space. They wanted me invisible, I said, looking directly into the camera. So I'm going to be everywhere. Yes. Olivia clapped from the sidelines. That's the money shot right there. The next hour flowed like a dream. Every click of the camera felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Marcus kept talking, drawing out more emotion, more truth. You've never done this before? He asked during a break, showing me some of the shots. Never. I stared at the photos in amazement. I've never even worn lingerie like this before. Mother always said women like me should stick to practical underwear. Women like you? Olivia raised an eyebrow. Full-figured, I said carefully. Don't apologize for accurate words, Olivia said. That's how they maintain control, by making us ashamed of even naming our reality. The afternoon continued, outfit after outfit. With each change, I felt more comfortable in my skin. Last set, Marcus announced. The evening wear collection. The final outfit was a stunning red evening gown, the kind of bright, attention-grabbing color Mother had always forbidden me to wear. As I posed, I thought about Victoria in her white Vera Wang wedding dress, and something shifted inside me. You know what? I said to Marcus between shots. I actually feel sorry for them. Why is that? Because they're so trapped by what they think beauty should look like. They're missing out on so much joy trying to maintain this perfect image. Click, click, click. That's it, he said softly. That's the shot we've been waiting for. Later, looking at the final photos, I barely recognized myself, not because of how I looked, but because of how I felt looking at them. There was no shame, no apology in my eyes. Just strength. We need to talk about the campaign rollout, Olivia said, pulling up a chair. These are going to be everywhere: magazines, social media, billboards. Billboards? My heart raced. Where exactly? We're thinking major city centers, high traffic areas. Why? I pulled out my phone and opened Victoria's wedding invitation, which I'd been avoiding looking at. St. Patrick's Cathedral, 5th Avenue. Right on the main thoroughfare. I pointed to the date. Her wedding's in 2 weeks. Is that enough time? Olivia studied my face. You're thinking something deliciously petty, aren't you? The pettiest, I admitted. She grinned. Tell me more. I showed her the church location on Google Maps. There was a massive billboard directly across the street, currently advertising luxury watches. The wedding's in 2 weeks, I said. Is that enough time? Olivia's smile turned wicked. Oh honey, for this level of poetic justice, I'll make it happen in one. Marcus looked between us, then at the evening wear shots on his screen. You're going to put these up across from our wedding venue, aren't you? Not just any shots, I said, pointing to one specific photo of me in the red gown, looking directly at the camera with years of pent-up defiance. This one. Let's see them try to keep me out of the wedding photos when I'm 50 feet tall across the street. You know this will burn bridges, Olivia warned. I thought about that torn-up spa certificate, about years of subtle cruelty masked as concern, about a lifetime of being told to make myself smaller. Some bridges need to burn, I said. And I'm done hiding in the shadows. Family reactions. My phone lit up with another group text from my family. They'd been planning Victoria's bridal shower, acting like nothing had happened, like they hadn't just cut me out of the wedding party. I'd been ignoring their messages for weeks, but this one caught my eye. Mother, has anyone heard from Eleanor? She hasn't RSVP'd for the shower. Victoria, probably too busy feeling sorry for herself. Melissa, maybe someone should check on her? Mother, I tried calling. She's being childish about the whole thing. Victoria, she's just jealous because she can't handle not being the center of attention for once. I screenshot the conversation, adding it to my growing collection of evidence. Sarah called it my revenge receipts. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Olivia. Billboard contract signed. Installation date confirmed. 6 a.m. on wedding day. You ready for this? Before I could respond, another family message popped up. Mother, I'm worried about her. This isn't healthy behavior. Maybe we should suggest therapy. Victoria, she's probably just depressed about her weight again. Remember when she tried that crash diet last year? Melissa, guys, she might see these messages. Mother, don't be silly. She left the group chat weeks ago. Except I hadn't. I'd been silently watching their true colors bleed through every message. I texted Olivia back, more ready than ever. The doorbell rang. It was Mother, holding a gift bag with tissue paper spilling out the top. I considered not answering, but curiosity won. Darling, she breezed past me into my apartment. We've been so worried. You've been avoiding everyone's calls. I've been busy, I said, which wasn't a lie. Between modeling shoots and campaign meetings, my schedule had been packed. Too busy for your sister's bridal shower? She set the bag down. I brought you something. A peace offering. Inside the bag was a dress of black, shapeless, clearly designed to hide every curve. Mother beamed like she'd done me a favor. Size 16, she said proudly. The saleswoman assured me it's very slimming. Mom, I'm a size 14. Oh. Her smile faltered. Well, better too big than too small, right? You can always have it taken in if you lose. I'm not going to the shower. Don't be ridiculous. Of course you are. Family supports family. I laughed. Since when? Eleanor, she sighed that familiar disappointed sigh. I know you're hurt about the wedding photos, but we were trying to be kind. Sometimes love means protecting people from embarrassment. Protecting who, exactly? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked around my apartment, picking things up and putting them down with slight grimaces. She paused at a framed photo on my bookshelf of me and Sarah at her birthday party last month. I was wearing a red dress that showed every curve. You posted this on Facebook, she said quietly. Aunt Margaret called me about it. Was she clutching her pearls when she did? This isn't you, Eleanor. These attention-seeking outfits, this rebellious attitude. What happened to my sweet, sensible girl? She grew up. Realized she deserved better than being your family's dirty secret. Mother's face hardened. We have never treated you like a secret. We've only ever wanted what's best for you. Do you think I enjoy seeing my daughter throw herself at cameras, flaunting her condition? My condition? I stepped closer. You mean my body? The one you've been trying to shame into submission since I was 8 years old? I won't have this conversation if you're going to be dramatic. She grabbed her purse. The shower is next Saturday at noon. Wear the dress I brought. Show everyone you can be mature about this. After she left, I texted the family group chat. Can't make the shower. Have a work commitment that day. Send Victoria my love. Within seconds, my phone exploded. Victoria, work? Since when do you work weekends? Mother, after I just brought you a new dress? This is completely unacceptable. Melissa, what kind of work thing? I smiled, thinking about the photo shoot scheduled for that exact time and my first major magazine cover. Instead of responding, I opened Instagram and posted the photo. Mother was so offended by me in the red dress, laughing, comfortable in my skin. The caption read, "Big things coming soon. Watch this space." Sarah commented immediately, "Girl, they have no idea what's about to hit them." My phone buzzed one more time, a private message from Melissa. I saw the photos Marcus posted on his portfolio. You look beautiful. Really beautiful. I wish I was brave enough to stand up to them like you're doing. I stared at her message for a long time before responding. It's not too late to be brave, Melissa. The view's pretty amazing from the other side of fear. Then I blocked Mother's number, muted the family group chat, and started planning my outfit for the magazine shoot. Something red, I thought. Something impossible to ignore. The conversation with Melissa. You're really not coming to the wedding? Melissa asked, curled up on her couch with a glass of wine. It was 3 days before the big day, and I'd finally agreed to meet her at her apartment. Would you, if you were me? She took a long sip. No, but I'm not as strong as you. Strong? I laughed. Melissa, I'm about to get revenge by a billboard. That's not strength, that's nuclear level pettiness. At least you're doing something. She set down her glass. I just exist. Following Mother's rules. Wearing Mother's approved outfits. Dating Mother's approved men. I studied my younger sister, always the quiet one, the peacekeeper, the one who never rocked the boat. You know you don't have to live like that, right? Easy for you to say. You're successful, independent. I saw your magazine cover yesterday at the grocery store. She paused. Mother turned it face down, then bought every copy so no one else would see it. I burst out laughing. She what? Spent like $200 on magazines just to hide them. Victoria was furious. Said you were trying to steal attention from her wedding week. Of course she did. I pulled out my phone. Want to see what's really going to make her furious? Melissa's eyes widened as I showed her the billboard mock-up. Oh my God. Is that across from the church? In that red dress? The one Mother hates? Yep. The very same dress Victoria rejected for her bridesmaids because, and I quote, red draws too much attention away from the bride. Melissa covered her mouth, but I caught the smile. They're going to lose their minds. That's the plan. Can I ask you something? She leaned forward. Are you doing this for revenge or for yourself? The question caught me off guard. Both, I think. Maybe it started as revenge, but now. I gestured to my phone, open to my growing social media following. I'm getting messages from women every day. Women who've been made to feel invisible by their own families. Who are finding their voice because I found mine. Our eyes met. There was something different in Melissa's expression, a spark I'd never seen before. You know what Mother said to me yesterday? She continued. She said, thank God at least one of her daughters turned out right. Can you believe that? Like you're some kind of failure because you don't hate yourself anymore. And how did that make you feel? Angry. Melissa stood up suddenly, pacing. So angry. Because you're not the failure they are. They failed you. They're failing me. Did you know Mother's already talking about finding me a reputable personal trainer? Says I've gotten soft since college. I watched my baby sister's hands shake as she poured more wine. Melissa, I said softly. Has this been going on with you too? I have an eating disorder, she blurted out. Had. Have. I don't know. Since high school. Mother called it portion control, but it wasn't. It was. It was killing me. The room went silent except for Melissa's ragged breathing. Why didn't you tell me? I asked softly. Because you were the strong one. The one who didn't care what they thought. I didn't want you to know I was weak. Come here. I pulled her into a hug. That's not weakness. Surviving them, that's strength. She pulled back, wiping her eyes. I don't want to be in the wedding photos either. What? I don't want to stand there pretending we're this perfect family. Not after everything they've done to you. To us, Melissa, no. This is my fight. Is it? She grabbed her phone, opened Instagram. Maybe I want to be seen too. Before I could stop her, she was typing. I watched in shock as she posted a photo of us together, wine glasses raised. Her caption made my heart stop. To my sister, my hero. Sometimes the best view isn't from inside the church. Melissa. I grabbed her phone. Mother's going to let you have it. Melissa's voice was steady. I'm done being the good daughter. Done watching them hurt you. Done hurting myself to make them happy. My phone buzzed. Victoria calling. Then mother. Then unknown numbers, as Melissa's post started circulating through family circles. They're going to cut you out too, I warned. Good. Melissa raised her glass. I'd rather stand with you anyway, even if it's across the street. I hugged my sister again, feeling something heal between us. You know what this means, right? I asked. What? You're going to need something amazing to wear on Saturday. Something mother would hate. Melissa grinned. Got anything in red? Wedding day. It's up. Sarah texted at 6:15 a.m. Get down here now. I was already awake, had been since 4 o'clock, watching the billboard installation crew from my car parked a block away from the church. Melissa was beside me, both of us clutching enormous coffees, wearing matching red dresses that would give mother an aneurysm. Ready? I asked her. Born ready. We walked toward the church just as the morning sun hit the billboard perfectly. My breath caught seeing myself 50 feet tall, me in that stunning red dress, looking directly at the camera with years of defiance in my eyes. The tagline read, "Age is not invisible." Holy shit, Melissa whispered. You look incredible. A car screeched to a halt in the middle of the street. It was Victoria, still in her pre-wedding salon robe, face mask half peeled off. What the hell? She screamed, jumping out. What is this? This, I gestured up, is what being seen looks like. Take it down, she stormed over, heels clicking. Take it down right now. Can't. Contracts are ironclad. It stays up for 6 weeks. 6. She choked. My wedding photos. The church steps photos. Everyone will see. You'll ruin everything. Like you tried to ruin me for years? I stepped closer. By erasing me? By making me feel worthless? You're being dramatic. We were trying to help. Another car pulled up. Mother's Mercedes. She stepped out slowly, staring up at the billboard with her hand over her heart like she was about to faint. What have you done? She whispered. Created a masterpiece, Sarah called out, approaching with her phone recording. Which has, by the way, already gone viral. #Invisible is trending. Mother's face went from pale to red. You planned this? You vindictive, attention-seeking, successful business executive, I interrupted. Face of a national campaign. Woman who finally stopped letting you dictate her worth. Melissa. Mother snapped, finally noticing her youngest daughter. Get in the car. We need to get to the church. No. Melissa stepped closer to me. Excuse me? I said no, I'm standing with Eleanor. Cars were slowing down now, people taking photos. The first wedding guests were arriving, pointing and whispering. Victoria looked like she was about to explode. You ruined my wedding. She shrieked. My perfect day. Perfect? Melissa laughed. Like how you perfectly excluded your own sister? Like how you perfectly made her feel worthless her entire life? Melissa. Mother gasped. That's enough. No, it's not enough. Melissa's voice rose. I've watched you torture her for years. Torture me. All for your precious image. Well, how's this for an image, Mother? She grabbed my hand and posed, taking a selfie with the billboard behind us, posting it immediately with the caption, Sorry, not sorry. #Invisible, #real beauty. Victoria's makeup artist ran out of the church, phone in hand. Vicky, you're trending. Everyone's talking about the billboard right across from your venue. This can't be happening, Victoria moaned. Oh, but it is. I smiled sweetly. And the best part? You did this to yourself. All you had to do was treat me like a human being. Like family. Instead, you made me invisible, so I made myself impossible to ignore. Mother stepped forward, voice low and dangerous. If you ever want to be part of this family again, save it. I cut her off. I don't negotiate with emotional terrorists anymore. More guests were arriving. Phones were out everywhere. The wedding photographer looked like Christmas came early, snapping shots of the scene. Richard, Victoria's fiancé, came running out. What's going on? Why is everyone? He stopped, saw the billboard. Whoa, Eleanor. That's, that's actually really amazing. Richard. Victoria shrieked. Don't compliment her. But it was too late. The damage was done. Guests were gathering, pointing, taking photos. The whispers were getting louder. Someone mentioned body shaming. Someone else mentioned family drama. My phone buzzed, Olivia texting. You're everywhere. News outlets picking up the story. Want to do an interview? You've always wanted attention, Mother spat. Well, congratulations. You've got it. No, Mother. I took Melissa's hand. I never wanted attention. I wanted respect. Acceptance. Love. You couldn't give me that. So I gave it to myself. And now, I gestured to the growing crowd, the phones, the billboard gleaming in the morning sun. Now everyone can see exactly what you tried to hide. The bride's sister, someone whispered loudly. They wouldn't let her be in the wedding because of her age and size. Victoria burst into tears, running back to her car. Mother followed, calling for Melissa, who didn't move. Ready for breakfast? I asked my sister. I know a great place with a perfect view of the church. Melissa grinned. Lead the way, billboard sister. We walked away together, leaving chaos in our wake. Our matching red dresses bright against the morning sky. The aftermath, read it, Sarah demanded, shoving her tablet across our breakfast table. We were sitting at the cafe across from the church, watching the wedding chaos unfold through the window. The headline read, Age is not invisible. How one woman's stand against ageism and body shaming sparked a movement. You're trending on every platform, she continued, scrolling through her phone. The video of your confrontation with your mother has 2 million views already. Olivia's phone is exploding with interview requests. Melissa leaned over to read the comments. My family did the same thing to me at my sister's wedding. This is the revolution we needed. Billboard's sister is my hero. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since we sat down to text from distant relatives, old friends, strangers. But one message stood out, from Richard's cousin Amanda. Just watched your sister have a meltdown because the priest mentioned your billboard was a sign from God about judgment. This is the best wedding I've ever attended. They're starting the ceremony, Melissa noted, watching guests file into the church. Should we feel bad? Before I could answer, Olivia called. Tell me you're free tomorrow, she said without greeting. Good morning, America wants you live in studio. Then Ellen's people called, and the view. This is bigger than we imagined. How big? Body True website crashed from traffic. We sold out of every evening wear item in the campaign. People are calling you the age-positive ambassador. I watched another wedding guest stop to take a selfie with my billboard. What about Victoria's lawyers? Let them try, Olivia scoffed. The publicity would only make this bigger. Besides, we have documentation of everything, the text, the exclusion, their body shaming. They'd be crucified in the media. My phone pinged with a news alert. Someone had leaked the group chat screenshots where my family discussed excluding me. The comments were brutal. What kind of mother treats her child like this? Bride of the year. More like Bridezilla of the century. Anyone else hoping the groom runs? Melissa showed me her phone. Mother's trying damage control on Facebook. Deeply saddened by my daughter's attention-seeking behavior on what should be a joyous family occasion. Some people will do anything for fame. The comments beneath were not what Mother expected. Maybe try apologizing to your daughter instead of shaming her more. My mother was just like you. Haven't spoken to her in 10 years. Congratulations, you just made your daughter a body positivity icon. Incoming, Sarah warned, nodding toward the door. Elizabeth Bennett, Richard's mother, burst into the cafe looking frazzled. Thank God I found you, she said, sliding into her booth. It's a disaster in there. Victoria's refusing to walk down the aisle until they move the ceremony to a different church. Your mother's having vapors in the bride's room. And half the guests are outside taking photos with your billboard instead of finding their seats. Not my problem, I shrugged. Actually, Elizabeth leaned forward. I think you're exactly what this family needed. Been wanting to say something about their treatment of you for years. Never had the courage. My phone buzzed again, Marcus this time. Just got off the phone with Vogue. They want to do a feature. The Revolution of the Billboard's Sister. You in? Melissa read the message over my shoulder and squealed. Holy. Vogue. Elizabeth stood up. I should get back. Richard's asking about you both, by the way. Says the bright side is looking pretty empty without his future sisters-in-law. Former sisters-in-law, I corrected her. We'll see, she smiled mysteriously. Richard's always been more sensible than Victoria. Speaking of which, she pulled out her phone, posed for a selfie with my billboard in the background. This is going straight to my Christmas card list. After she left, Sarah started laughing. Your mother's going to lose it when she sees her in-law posted that. Speaking of posting, Melissa pulled up Instagram. Want to make one final statement? I thought for a moment, then started typing. To everyone asking about the #Invisible campaign, yes, my family tried to hide me from their perfect wedding photos. So I made sure they'd never forget what they were ashamed of. But this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about every person who's been told to make themselves smaller, to hide, to be ashamed. We deserve to be seen, all of us. And I'm just getting started. Add this, Melissa said, snapping a photo of us in our red dresses, coffee cups raised to the billboard across the street. In the background, wedding guests were still taking photos, the church doors wide open, chaos visible inside. I posted it all, adding one final line. To my sister, the bride. I may not be in your wedding photos, but I guarantee no one will ever look at them without thinking of me. Within seconds, the likes started pouring in. Comments flooded. Shares exploded. Well, Sarah grinned, raising her coffee cup. I think it's safe to say you're not invisible anymore. Through the window, we watched as more guests abandoned the church entrance to take photos with the billboard. Someone had started a hashtag. #TeamBillboardSister. To being seen, Melissa toasted. To being unforgettable, I replied. 6 weeks later. Ready? Olivia squeezed my hand backstage at the Body True fashion show. I was about to close the show in their new evening wear collection, the one that had sold out within hours of my billboard debut. Born ready, I said, but my hands were shaking. My phone buzzed a text from Richard. Victorious, hate watching your live stream. Thought you should know. Another buzz, Melissa. Front row. Mother's going to flip when she sees the surprise finale. The wedding felt like a lifetime ago, though it was only 6 weeks. The photos eventually came out stiff, forced smiles. Half the guests missing from the ceremony shots because they were outside with my billboard. The marriage had lasted exactly 12 days before Richard filed for separation, citing irreconcilable differences after Victoria tried to sue me. 5 minutes, the stage manager called. Marcus appeared, camera ready. The Vogue team was in position. I checked my reflection one last time. The evening gown I was wearing wasn't just red, it was a deep, powerful crimson, the same shade I'd worn to crash Victoria's wedding. The same color that had become my signature. They're ready for the announcement, Olivia said, heading toward the stage. I peeked through the curtain. The audience was packed, fashion editors, influencers, celebrities. Melissa was in the front row with Sarah, both wearing red. Elizabeth was there too, Richard beside her. Even some of my extended family had shown up, the ones who'd chosen sides after the billboard went viral. Olivia took the microphone. Today marks a new chapter for Body True. We're launching not just a collection, but a movement. The Age is Not Invisible campaign showed us that everybody deserves to be celebrated. That's why we're proud to announce our new foundation, the Visibility Project. The crowd applauded. My cue was coming. This foundation, Olivia continued, will provide support for individuals affected by family ageism, body shaming, and appearance-based discrimination. And leading our initiative. The curtain rose. The lights hit me. Please welcome our new age-positive ambassador, Eleanor Thompson. I walked the runway like I owned it, because I did. Every step was for the 8-year-old girl forced to shop in the women's department. Every turn was for the teenager who wasn't allowed in family photos. Every pose was for the woman who had finally learned to take up space. Halfway down the runway, I stopped, pulled out a remote. Click. The screens behind me lit up with images, the billboard, the wedding chaos, the viral moments. But then new photos, hundreds of them. Women of all ages and sizes posed in front of my billboard. The hashtag #AgiceNoteInvisible flooded the screens. These are your stories, I said into the microphone they handed me. Every person who was told they weren't good enough. Everybody that was asked to hide. This is for you. The crowd erupted. Melissa was crying. Sarah was filming everything. And for those wondering about my family, I locked eyes with Richard, who nodded encouragingly. My mother sent me a text this morning. Want to hear it? The audience leaned forward. I pulled out my phone. Saw your Vogue cover. You look happy. I'm sorry it took a billboard for me to see you. Really see you. Mom, I haven't responded yet. I told the crowd. Because sometimes sorry isn't enough. Sometimes you have to rebuild from the ground up. Sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. I gestured to Melissa, to Sarah, to Olivia and Marcus. These people saw me when others wanted me invisible. They taught me that taking up space isn't just okay, it's necessary. The music swelled. I resumed my walk, but instead of turning at the end of the runway, I stepped down, walked to Melissa, took her hand. Come on, I whispered. Your turn to be seen. She hesitated only a second before joining me. We walked the runway together, two sisters who chose each other over toxicity. The crowd went wild. My phone buzzed again. Victoria, I hate that you're happy. I hate that you're successful. I hate that you ruined my wedding. But most of all, I hate that you were right. I showed Melissa the text. She grinned. Want to know what true happiness looks like? She grabbed my hand, posed us at the end of the runway. The cameras flashed. The crowd cheered. And in that moment, I wasn't the billboard sister or the age-positive ambassador or the woman who crashed her sister's wedding. I was just Eleanor, finally, completely, unapologetically seen. Ready for the finale? Olivia called from backstage. I looked at Melissa, at our matching red dresses, at the army of diverse models lining up behind us in every shade of red imaginable. Let's show them what taking up space really looks like, I said. The music built. The lights brightened. And we owned every single inch of that runway, not despite who we were, but because of it. Some bridges need to burn for new ones to rise from the ashes. And sometimes, the view from the other side is better than anything you could have imagined.